Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another audio fan commentary, a very special audio fan commentary, because this isn't one we're doing randomly out of the blue. This is actually in memoriam for Sir Sean Connery, who obviously was the original 007 for the Eon film series. He sadly passed away recently at the age of 90 due to ill health. But this is not a commentary on James Bond. No, it is a commentary on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which he featured in. And if you didn't guess that by the title, then you would have guessed that by the theme song that we were singing. But I'm pretty sure you would have an understanding that Sean Connery is in this movie if you've seen it. He plays Indiana Jones's father, actually, so he's quite a big role in the movie. And it was a chance to really just commemorate his life and one of the other great roles that he played besides James Bond. I think we have commentated on all 6 of his official Bond movies. To be honest, I think commentating on Never Say Never Again would have put us in a bad mood. So I'm kind of glad that we opted for The Last Crusade. Just as before, this is a non-profit commentary. We're just doing this for fun. We're doing this in memoriam for Sean Connery. Can't show the image for legal reasons. If you have a DVD or Blu-ray of the film, you're more than welcome to follow with us. If you put it into your player, put your timestamp to 0 and press play when we press play. I know it's a bit awkward, but unfortunately it's the best we can do. Jack, is there anything you would like to say before we kick this shit off?
I was thinking of that line from Last Crusade where it says, "I think I forgot my Charlemagne," or something like that. Yeah, when he's fucking with the umbrella. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of classic moments with Sean Connery in this film, and with Harrison Ford. This is actually my personal favorite of the Indiana Jones movies, not just because Sean Connery is in it, but because of the story. And I think it has the most interesting story of the 4 films. This is just a personal thing. I understand a lot of people prefer Raiders. That's fine. Each to their own. But yeah, for me, this is the one that really just I've seen. I think that's the one I've seen the most, but I haven't watched it for quite a while. Not for a couple of years or so. So it'll be nice to go back and watch something fun because it is fun and it's a great father-son relationship. I think Jack's favorite is it Raiders? Am I correct there?
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, Last Crusade for the longest time was my favorite until I think a few years ago when I watched Raiders and I changed my opinion. But Last Crusade, can't deny, this is a great Indiana Jones film, and it is definitely a childhood favorite of mine. I still think it is a classic today, but not my favorite. But it's still great to have Sean Connery in it. I think it was a great, idea to bring him in for this film. So yeah,
and easily better than Temple of Doom for you and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, let's not prolong anymore. Let's begin. So, are you ready?
Yes, Flash.
Okay. Do you want to do the countdown, or shall I do it?
I'll do it if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
3, 2, 1, go.
Interesting how also in the opening of the film we focus on young Indiana Jones, played by River Phoenix, I believe, who I think he lost his life very early into the 90s, was it? I mean, I might be wrong, but I know he died very young.
Yeah. Are you on the THX logo, by the way?
No. I'm 26 seconds in.
Alright, so because I got on Blu-ray, just THX logo.
Oh yeah, I've got the Blu-ray as well. Should we start again?
Yeah, we'll start from the Paramount logo if that's all right. Just before the Paramount logo. Yeah.
We may as well just. No, it's fine. Let's just put it back to 0. It'll just be easier that way. Then we'll be in time. You can do the countdown again, but I've just put it back to the very beginning.
I'll let you do it. I didn't know there was a THX logo. I only bought this box set recently on Blu-ray, but yeah.
Oh no, it's fine. No worries. I haven't watched this for a while, so I forgot about that logo. Okay.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, play.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, mine just starts with the Paramount logo. Interesting.
Yeah. Mine's on the Paramount logo as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It's funny that for Indiana Jones, like for Temple of Doom, they had the Indiana Jones logo in it, and then here they go back to the old font for the first one. I mean, I kind of prefer them just using the logo in Temple of Doom, but I mean that was kind of weird the way they they had the logo, but you had Cape Capshaw like standing in front of it. That was a bit distracting, but yeah.
Yeah, I think because I think they wanted to bring this film back to more of a similar feel to Raiders, so maybe that was the reason why they changed the text. And also with the opening being some very slow shots, to have all the titles over it was a good idea. Whereas Temple of Doom opened with a musical number, which is strange. I mean, they did the same titles for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I think, as well, which was nearly 20 years after this.
I have to say, like the Blu-ray quality here is great, like, and the look of it is like amazing. And I mean, this beginning kind of reminds me a little bit of a West, and Sean Connery's Pressure Henry Jones, yeah. But I mean, this reminds me of like the opening of a Western or something with like Grant and stuff. But yeah, I think Spielberg's
I
trying to.
definitely agree, and given where it's shot, I mean, the location is incredible.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice just to kind of, establish, to open up with shots of just where they are, to take in the scenery before you get wrapped up in the story.
Yeah, you don't always need a big explosion to start a film off like that. It's kind of the shame about films today is it's all just sort of action, action, action. They don't have like quieter moments in films.
Yeah. Michael Bay, Transformers, cough.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Bay fucking masturbates to explosions.
Yeah. Funnily enough, apparently he worked on Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he said he thought it was going to be garbage before it came out, and I was just like, oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah, coming from the guy who would direct like 5 Transformers movies. Yeah. And this is from someone who thinks Transformers is just a guilty pleasure.
Yeah. No, but it's a shame River Phoenix passed away pretty young because he's really good in this film. I mean, I haven't really seen anything else that he's in, but I think he died of a drug overdose or something when he's quite young. Of course, he's the brother of Joaquin Phoenix, who was in Joker and a lot of other stuff. But yeah, I mean,
yeah.
One thing Stuckman pointed out, and I kind of agree, like I really like how this film sort of shows young Indiana Jones, like, and sort of how he got the hat and everything, and
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You don't really need much. I mean, we've always known that he's been into history and everything, but this is really the start of him becoming an adventurer, I guess. And yeah, he kind of becomes obsessed with all these relics and everything. But I mean, it's interesting how obviously because he's younger, he's not the Harrison Ford character we know yet. And I guess in a way, Indiana Jones never really grew up. He just kind of kept going after the adventure. He gets off on it, and I think River Phoenix is good for the younger version. And like you say, how he gets the trademarks like the hat and the whip, it kind of definitely feels more like they're developing the character than they did in Temple of Doom. Although I like Temple of Doom, it didn't really have much character development.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's one of my biggest problems. I mean, I think Spielberg made the right decision going back to the tone and feel of the first film, because Temple of Doom for me it just felt like a really tonally confused film. Like they were trying to make it darker, but they were also trying to like amp up the comedy with like Willie and Short Round, and I just thought that film was a bit of a mess, to be honest. But I mean, I think they went too dark here. I think this gets the right tone of Raiders, where there's just enough dark, but there's also just enough humor in there as well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think this goes further with the emotion as well. Actually, obviously having his dad in the story um, adds a few more emotional pulls to the story. I can understand your points about it being similar in the sense they use the Nazis again, and yeah, I guess I can see that being as a criticism, but it doesn't bother me that much because I still think the story is interesting enough for that to not really be an issue.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't ruin the film for me. It's just I think for me I think the reason why I prefer Raiders is yeah, it's more original, sort of started that genre, and I think with Last Crusade, even though I think it's great, like I think having the Nazis again and going after another holy artifact, like it's sort of something we've seen before, but that doesn't really damage the movie because the movie itself is just there's so many other there's so much other stuff in it as well, like with Sean Connery and Harrison Ford. It doesn't bother me at all. This is still a great film. I still love this film, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and also I think actually this indie film potentially is my favorite score of the four films. Like John Williams' music is great in all four movies, but for me, this one I think I don't know. I just think it has something over the others. I'm not sure what it is, but I mean, it all sounds fantastic. But this is a great opening. It's a great action scene as well.
yeah,
And this is what started his fear of snakes.
yep, that's true. Snakes, I hate snakes.
Why did it have to be snakes?
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't be scared of that giant bloody thing?
Yeah. I mean, the little ones aren't too bad, like rattlesnakes, really. But I think the pythons would be the ones that would scare me. Like the ones with big heads. They would be a little bit worrying. But I'm not too scared of snakes. I think rats are worse because they carry diseases.
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't notice how much of a great actor, sorry, not Joaquin, River Phoenix was. Like, that bit where he falls into the pit and he's like, oh, oh, I mean, like, that, like his face, like everything, it looked like a young Harrison Ford, like, it was like, such a great, I think it brought his own spin to it as well. Like, yeah, I mean, you really think he is a young Indiana Jones?
Yeah, like you could see him growing up into being Harrison Ford.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
I mean, one thing that's great about Indiana Jones is like how unbelievable it all is. Like, that he's able to do all these, amazing stunts and things, but still
Yeah,
having it feel somewhat believable. But
I
yeah,
mean, in Raiders, there's that amazing truck chase where he coils his whip to underneath the truck and he manages to sort of drag himself along. It is crazy, but and it is unbelievable. But at the same time, it's Indiana Jones. It's he's an
yeah,
adventurer. It's what he does.
yeah. It's a spectacle that you watch it for. Yeah, I like that little bit there as well. That you find out how he got his scar. Like he whacks himself accidentally at the whip, and yeah.
Want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah,
And the fact is, like, what's funny about this is in the end that these people, they're not actually robbing, but they are. But they're trying to. Like this guy is actually the owner of the cross, which I think is kind of funny.
yeah. Yeah, that does annoy me a little bit after a while. Like the way he kept saying this belongs in a museum. Like, I mean,
It belongs in a museum. So
it's
do
like
you.
he, yeah, he is a bit too goody, but at the same time, you do enjoy that. He's like, it belongs in a museum.
Yeah, this bit always confused me as a kid because I never realized it was a magic box.
Yeah,
But Clearly,
You know
that has,
that guy sounds like Harrison Ford, and he looks like him.
he does,
Guy
definitely.
Yeah.
Clearly, there was a hatch at the bottom of that box for him to get out on.
Yeah. What I want to know is, like, how did he? Yeah, it's a little bit confusing, but still fun.
I mean, as a kid, it always confused me.
Yeah.
There's the dog, Indiana.
Yeah.
I thought he just calls him Junior.
Yeah. Only the penitent man will pass.
And I actually really like the character of his dad as well. How his dad has become so obsessed with finding the Grail, and he's been a neglectful father. And I just think the relationship is really interesting, and how over the film they do grow a bit closer, and how he saves his dad in the end.
Yeah.
I guess it's also a nice way of showing that, Indy in his younger days, he would get things wrong. He would make mistakes. He's not all knowing, and I like that this demonstrates that.
Yeah. I like the fact as well that the guy admires Indy. He gives him his hat, and that bit earlier on where Indy runs away from the train. He sort of admires his guts that he would do this.
Yeah. You lost today, kid. He's like, yeah, you can have the hat. Nice transition.
Yeah.
And then years later, he's chasing the same guy.
Yeah, I mean, this guy looks like a mafia don or something. That outfit.
Yeah. It's Don Blablino.
Yeah. He does look like Marlon Brando or something like.
I mean, to be fair, he does sound a bit like a gangster, doesn't he?
Yeah.
This is the second time I've had to reclaim my property from you. It belongs in a museum. So do you.
So do you.
Look who's talking. You're the old fossil, mate.
Yeah. You're older than Indy. For God's sake.
Yeah.
It's funny,
the way it's set in the rain and all that, and
Yeah, we've never had an indie fight scene like this. I'm just amazed at his university. They give him time off to let him do this.
Yeah.
Again, unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they probably would have fired him. Wait, you're risking your life fighting Nazis, But
yeah,
I mean, that's part of the charm of it,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he probably doesn't tell his students what he gets up to, but I think Marcus Brody is the only one who really knows what he actually does. The others probably think, because he works part time, he just takes holiday every so often.
Yeah.
Great scene.
Yeah, it is funny how he's after it all these years later.
I forgot how much fun these movies are. Well, for the most part, anyway.
Yeah. And this is set 1 year before World War II, so that's kind of interesting as well, since you got the Nazis in this,
Yeah. I wonder how long it must have taken him to track that guy down to find the cross again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't know about you, but doesn't Harrison Ford look a bit silly in those glasses?
Yeah, he does.
He's too good looking to be a teacher.
Yeah. Well, man,
Sorry.
I don't know.
Sorry for interrupting you, by the way.
No, it's all right. No, you don't have to apologize. Sorry if I interrupt you.
No, it was my fault.
No, I was going to say, no, I kind of wish this was the last Indiana Jones film, because this would have really sent out on a huge high. And now they've got Indiana Jones 4, which, you know, I mean, I know a lot of people hate that film, but I mean, I enjoyed it. But it really should have just ended with this. And
Yeah.
now they're doing Indiana Jones 5, but they're talking about canceling it. It's like, I wish they would just cancel it. You know, the story's done. I mean, I love Harrison Ford, but, you know, the guy is like, you know, he's going to be 80 something when the film comes out. It's just going to become a parody, you know.
They if they want to do it again, they need to pass it down to someone else, because Ford has had his time in the role, and I think he was a bit too old in the fourth one. Think about, I mean, he just kind of got away with it, but at the same time, he's just thinking, you know, in his mid-60s, that's just a bit too old to be doing all this physical stuff. And I mean, I have my own other issues with the fourth one, but I don't hate it, you know, like other people do. I think it's okay, but yeah, this is the true ending of Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I mean, it's called the Last Crusade. The last.
Well, originally, I mean, Spielberg had closed the door deliberately on it as a trilogy. I mean, there's a shot of them at the end riding off into the sunset, but Lucas. Let's say Lucas persuaded, quote unquote, Spielberg to do the fourth one. Yeah. I stand by my opinion that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull feels like a George Lucas movie. I'm sorry, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, this is a bit ridiculous. Like, the girls are literally, like, banging the door open, but at the same time, probably know who he is, and yeah.
I mean, can he do that? Like, legally, like, he could lose his job for that. He's just decided, fuck it, I'm just going to walk out.
Yeah. Probably, like, you know what? This guy is so cool, we need to keep him here so he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously a very good teacher because he knows his history, but yeah, I think he just needs a break from the students every now and then.
Yeah. One thing I will say, but sorry, go ahead.
Is this where Donovan lives? Because, blimey, this is a bloody expensive place to live.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I will say is I love Julian Glover and he's good in this, but I mean, one thing I think, as the term like movie villains, like he always seems to be kind of wasted. Like, you know, For Your Eyes Only and this. I mean, he's better in this than For Your Eyes Only, but it's kind of a shame the Indiana Jones villains. They're never they can never get them right. They're either too, you know, bland or, you know, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, we had, what's his name, Belloc in the first one, although I call him Bellend, but I mean, he was okay. I think Donovan, yeah, he's just okay. But I think the worst villain has to be Mola Ram from Temple of Doom. Even though I like Temple of Doom, I admit the villain sucks. I guess actually the villains in Crystal Skull were probably the best of the series, and I'm surprised that I'm saying that because I think that's the weakest film of the series. I actually think I mean I used to think Donovan was the best villain of the series, but I guess he doesn't really get to do that much. I mean, he's certainly menacing. He can be, but I mean, Julian Glover's accent is good, but he's a very one-dimensional character.
Yeah, he's just this guy who wants the Grail, and that's it. You know, I mean, Julian Glover's a great actor, and he's proved himself in other stuff. But I just think, I don't know. I don't know whether it's Spielberg or whatever director it is. Like, they just never seem to use his talent. I mean, Donovan, he's not like an awful villain or anything, but like you said, he's just very like one-dimensional. And I kind of agree with you. Even though Skull is nowhere near the best film, like at least Kate Blanchett, you know, she brought, you know, personality and you know stuff to Spalko. But yeah, that's the thing with Belloc and. That's the thing with Belloc and Donovan. They're just not very good villains. They're just kind of like, oh, we want your treasure, and that's kind of it. But
yeah, they're very samey. I mean, Donovan is like, oh, I want the power of, you know, I want to prolong my life with the Holy Grail, and Bellend is sorry, Belloc is I call him Bellend. I call him that. He wants the Ark of the Covenant for some reason. Oh, I'm getting distracted. Oh, this won't be Blade Runner again.
No, it won't. But oh god, it's like could you imagine Indiana Jones just said that to him? Hey, Bellend.
yeah, Bellend. And then Mola Ram, well, he didn't really have a motivation, did he? He just wanted to eat people's hearts.
Yeah.
And he wanted to control the stones. So yeah, and then what's her name? Kate Blanchett's character wanted like ultimate knowledge or something. So they've all got motivation, but that's really it. It's not much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fine. That was funny. Bellend, yeah. I'm trying to think of other funny names for the Indiana Jones villains, but I can't. But yeah, no, but before we can't get into Blade Runner, but yeah, no, I mean, I think with I think with the Indiana Jones films, you could clearly see the influence from other movies that Spielberg had here. Like you could see he was influenced by Bonds, you know, and westerns and stuff. He said like John Ford sort of westerns, like with the, you know, the horses and, you know, the sort of Grand Canyon and stuff like that. But I mean, what I also really like about these films is like, I mean, they're the only like sort of, I guess you could say like archaeology sort of films that
Yeah.
sort of mainstream. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But they are a spectacle, and I think Spielberg said when he was making Raiders that he was inspired like by some of those, I think 1930s like adventure movies. So he wanted to kind of sort of like bring back the adventure sort of series and the genre. And I think he did that. I think Indiana Jones, Raiders, certainly reinvigorated love for adventure movies, and I'm glad that the series continued in that love for adventure movies. You can see like they're just meant to be fun. They're not meant to be works of art. They're just meant to be fun adventures with good stories, and that, for the most part, that's what they are. Obviously, there are some that are better than others, but definitely Raiders and Last Crusade are the two that stand out the most to me.
I think Spielberg is the ultimate popcorn director. He's really good at making family fun adventure films that you don't have to think too much about it. He's not concerned about it being an artful film. I think Commode is right. You know, he's great at making fun, entertaining films that everyone can enjoy and sit down and admire. You know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Schindler's List is the exception of that, but that's a different type of film altogether. But yeah, interesting that they raided his farm.
One thing I do kind of agree with, like Stuckman said it, like I was watching his reviews of the Indiana Jones films a while back, like, and they went into quite a lot of detail, but they're good because of it. But he was talking about that scene in Crystal Skull where the statue of, you know, Marcus comes off, and I thought, like, yeah, did you really need that in there, Spielberg? You know, like, it just came across as a bit disrespectful. But
yeah, I'd probably agree with that. And actually, this one, Brody gets a lot to do. He's actually in it for quite a lot, which I appreciate because he's always sort of been a background character.
Yeah, that music there is. I've always loved that music.
I think it's beautiful music. I think this track is one of the reasons why I rate this score the best of the series.
Yeah, you know, I probably have to agree with you. One thing that I really like about Last Crusade as well is that it sort of brings up faith and like I think Indiana Jones himself, like he's not a very religious person, but his dad is. He's very, you know, religious and into Christ and stuff. And I like how this sort of like Indy sort of has to question like his relationship with his dad, like his relationship with faith, and then you sort of see that come to the forefront at the end where you find out that he even though like he doesn't believe in the end, I think he ends up believing in all of it, you know, because of his dad, and you know he thought his dad was kind of nuts, but you know he found out that his dad was right about, you know, all these traps he had to go through to get the Holy Grail. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right, 100%.
Don't trust anyone.
Don't trust anybody. Yeah, that's a giveaway, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, you couldn't be more obvious he was the villain after saying that. But yeah,
Because when they see him again, he's like, "You didn't take my advice. Don't trust anyone." Yeah, and that included himself.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Although the only thing I do find tedious about Indiana Jones is the map. They do it in all of them. It's just can we stop with the map? It's we don't need to show the map. Nice to see Venice as well. Very beautifully. It's a very beautifully filmed movie.
Schneider, let me say it. I don't know. Maybe he'll know us.
A woman.
I knew it was you.
The lovely Alison Doody as Elsa Schneider.
And my mother's ears. Rest belongs to you.
Looks like the letter has already been spoken. Marcus Brady.
That's right.
I really like her in this film. I think she's a fantastic actress, and I think she really gets to play a very two-sided character. I think out of the Indiana Jones girls, she's definitely probably the most complex.
Yeah.
Because Willie,
Definitely sorry, go ahead.
I was like, yeah, because Willie was just a screamer. Marion is clearly the best of the three girls. But I think I like Elsa because she's complicated. She's not all good. She's not all evil. She's almost in it for herself, really, more than anyone else.
Yeah, I'd definitely say she's the best looking of the Indiana Jones girls.
I would be inclined to agree. Yeah, and I think she's very sexy.
Yes, I mean Mr. Connery would be very happy about that.
And I think they
sleep together.
Yeah, I think they added that in just to have a nod to James Bond when she says, "Oh, I still haven't forgotten about that wonderful night. Thank you. It was rather wonderful." I think that was just a reference to James Bond more than anything else.
Yeah. It is funny that Indiana Jones's father is James Bond. Like, one next is his mother going to be Wonder Woman,
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. If you want to be a good archaeologist, you got to get out of the library. Did you ever play Lego Indiana Jones?
I did, yeah.
I mean, the second one was crap, but the first one was great. It was based on the first three movies, and the Last Crusade levels were amazing because one of the first levels was this one where you had to work out the puzzle that was the X on the floor. I like how they basically got everything from the movie and made you do it all yourself. It was great.
Yeah.
7, 10.
You know, it's funny. He always says X never marks a spot, but literally this time it does. I love that. Like, yeah, X.
I suppose that's dramatic irony. Well, not dramatic irony, just irony. But yeah, actually, I would say this is Harrison Ford's best performance for me. I think he takes the character to different places, more on an emotional level because obviously his dad is in the movie, but. Ford is great in all four of the movies. That's one thing that's consistent. Even in the fourth one, when he's older, he's still giving it his all. You know, he clearly loves the character.
Yeah, I think out of all the Indiana Jones films as well, this is probably the most funny. Like, and the comedy all really works here as well.
X marks the spot. One thing I do find very unbelievable is the librarian. I mean. I know it's done for a laugh, and I know it's meant to be funny, and it's a joke. But the fact that he just, why would he not go and check where he can hear the noise? And how is nobody else in the library going to go over and say, shh? I mean, it's funny, but like, it's not realistic.
Yeah, no, it is funny. I know what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what happens when you dig too deep into some films that you come out with all the flaws. And here, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like why he doesn't check, you know?
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's fine. I'll let it go because I still love this movie. But yeah, and
yeah.
I'm amazed that is strong enough to break the marble. But well, good on them. They have to get in there somehow.
Oh, that's marble. Yeah, I don't know how the hell they broke that, but I mean, I suppose it's a movie.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, oh, I don't know specifically, but I would imagine it's marble. It looks like it's marble.
Yeah. It could just be like stone, like some kind of
Yeah.
hard stone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's either marble or stone. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. If you don't know it, being cute.
Yeah, it's got any money. Wicks. Yeah. God, well, Wicks never used to sell marble. Not the store that I worked in. Bloody expensive as well.
No, I think Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider. What I always loved about like Indiana Jones and stuff was like you sort of being alone in a undiscovered tomb for years. There's something I just think awesome about that. You know, finding this place that no one else in the world has ever
Seen it.
set foot in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think adds to the fun of Indiana Jones and all these adventure series. It's it's going to unknown territory and discovering the most brilliant historical things, and obviously there's a lot of adventure to come with it. So clearly, he gets off on it. He finds it thrilling, but the historical side of it as well, being a teacher, he also finds fascinating. And I think it's like when you go to a museum, seeing history come to life. Although this is obviously on a grander scale.
Yeah. You know, in reality, like archaeology is really boring. I mean, my cousin actually, funnily enough, he studied to be an archaeologist. I mean, he doesn't do it now. I mean, he studied to do that, and yeah, I mean, maybe he was inspired by this or something. But I wish archaeology was like this, but in reality, it's just sort of digging a site and brushing off some mud and things like that. There's not cults going after you with machine guns and stuff.
No, that's the wrong perception of archaeology. You call this archaeology? Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny, like, the beginning of Jurassic Park, when we see Alan Grant, him and his team are digging in a site, although they're more paleontologists because they study dinosaurs, but similar kind of thing, I suppose.
Yeah. Maybe that's one lazy thing about Jurassic Park. I mean, it's a great film, but I mean, I always thought Alan Grant was kind of like Indiana Jones' cousin because he always wore that big hat and he was pretty much an archaeologist,
Yeah, yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Years ago, I made an edit which was just Jurassic Park clips with Indiana Jones theme. I called it Dr. Alan Grant and the Raiders of the Lost Park. I mean, you could have retitled the Jurassic Park that, and it still would have made sense because he wore the hat, like you said, and he basically looked like Indiana Jones.
Yeah. I mean, I think I prefer Indiana Jones, of course, but I do like Alan Grant. But yeah, I mean, they definitely tried to make him like Indiana Jones, the hat and everything. It's like,
yeah.
God, rats. Ugh. Funny enough, 2020 is the year of the rat.
Oh, is it?
Chinese New Year. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the year of fucking Corona.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that she's walking so well in her heels. I mean, because he looked like he was about to tumble in.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is pretty cool, though. I mean, Spielberg doesn't know how to direct spectacle and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that set is really good and all the props and everything. It looks real. It looks as though it's been living there for thousands of years, and it looks all old and it looks like a relic. It's they've done a good job to make it look realistic.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen Alison Doody in many other things, but this is probably her best role. I mean, she's all right in A View to a Kill, but she doesn't get much to do, you know.
And then she died.
Yeah.
The score is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the reaction from Ford there, because you can see Indy's joy of discovering this. And she says, you're giddy as a schoolboy, And that's what's great about Indy. He loves discovering all this, but the gunfights and everything are a bonus that just come with it.
Yeah, this is probably one of Harrison Ford's best performances as well as Indy. Like she said, he's just so excited to find something new, and and I like how this sort of ties in with the Grail storyline. But yeah.
Oh dear! Now we've got to get out. Alison Dooney is a very, very attractive young woman in this.
And she's Irish.
Oh, she's Irish. I didn't know that.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
Oh, so she's putting on a German accent or an Austrian accent in this?
Yeah. No, I mean, I thought she was English because she was in A View to a Kill and then this film, but no, apparently she's an Irish actress. Yeah.
Wow. I love this action scene that comes up, the boat chase. I think the music for it is really good as well. And then they just emerge.
I mean, this scene always reminds me a little bit of Moonraker. Like, I just expect a double take pigeon to just come out of nowhere.
Speaking of pigeons,
yeah.
Dun, dun, bum, 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 bum.
I can just imagine Roger Moore in a gondola going past here.
I should do an edit of that. Cut with this. Da, 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 da. Convenient.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I mean, it is very convenient. No, just turn it on and it's ready. Yeah.
Oh, nice guitar in the music. This is just such a fun film.
Yeah. One of the best action movies. I love the look at her face, like, what the hell?
Dun, 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 dun.
Are you crazy? Don't go between them.
She mishears what he says.
Yeah.
Do you find the punch sound effect a bit tiresome?
The what, sorry?
The punch sound effect. Do you find that a bit tiresome?
I suppose a bit, yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I don't mind it too much, but it's like it's just one sound effect they just keep reusing. It must have been annoying for the editor.
Yeah.
My cousins used to be obsessed with Indiana Jones. He used to be obsessed with it. I wouldn't see them all the time because they lived up north, but whenever they'd come down, they'd want to watch Indiana Jones. Although my uncle and aunt, they wouldn't let them watch the fourth one because they were under the age of 12, even though they'd seen it. Apparently they'd seen it. So I always suggested The Last Crusade because I loved that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I think secretly they just wanted to watch the fourth one because they weren't paying attention when this was on.
They wanted to watch the what? Sorry?
The fourth one.
Oh, right. Oh, Last Crusade. Oh, King of Crystal Skull. Oh, God. I mean, this is a bit ridiculous. Come on, Indy. Get off that boat before it slices you up,
Yeah. I wonder how many takes they must have done on how many boats they destroyed to shoot this scene.
Yeah. I mean, as a kid, I was obsessed with Indiana Jones. Like, I would, I watched the films all the time on TV, and I mean, that's why I never bought them on DVD or Blu-ray for years and years and years, because they were always on TV, and I always just watched them. Then I just fucking loved it, you know. It's just, yeah. I mean, I think for children, Indiana Jones is definitely one of the most fun things ever. You know, apart from Star Wars and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, although I mean the fourth one is certainly a little bit more, like the scene with the red ants. That's a little bit more graphic, but it's not majorly. But it is a 12, slightly scarier than the first three.
Yeah, I mean, I think the second one, like, because that was so dark, it created like the PG-13 rating in America or something like that. And yeah, I mean that's one of my problems as well with Temple of Doom is that I think Indiana Jones is supposed to appeal to a family audience, and that one felt more like it was for adults in a way. But yeah, I mean that's why I think Spielberg was right to go back to getting the tone right with this one. Yeah.
I mean that guy there, surprisingly, considerate to the fact that Indy, punched and threw most of his men off of the boat.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to want an apology from that.
Yeah. Quite funny, but yeah. For the Canyon of the Crescent Moon. Yeah.
That is one place that would be amazing to visit. That would be a sight for sore eyes.
I think it is someplace in Egypt or something like that where they filmed the entrance to the tomb where the Grail is.
Yeah. I mean, you almost wish that you were with Indy during these scenes and just seeing it for yourself. Like you almost just wish you could just be there. I mean, how amazing it must have been for the actors to work in such brilliant sets.
It's interesting as well that you've got these cult members who are like banning the Grail because they know if someone finds it, they might use it for corruption or something like that, or because of the powers of the Grail. So, I mean, that's what I like about this as well, is that the Grail should be used for something that's good, and Donovan and all, he just wants it to live forever and sort of become a I guess he probably would want to be a dictator as well because he'd have the power of the Grail and all that. But yeah.
Yeah, I think he would. Wow.
What are they looking for?
Like, how did they not notice that before? Like, they're in their dressing gowns, so they would have come back and oh, whatever. It's not a major problem.
No.
I think it's clear though that the only woman Indy has ever loved is Marion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think he just sort of, thought of Elsa as a bit of fun on the side. Like, I mean, I think maybe, I think he does. I think he was starting to really warm to Elsa. Maybe he thought he could see himself, being with her, but then he finds out, of course, that she's a Nazi, and it turns out, she only wanted the Grail, for fame and fortune and all that, and that was sort of why she died at the end, Yeah.
Oh. This is a bit steamy.
She's biting his ear off.
You see his face there. It's like a Roger Moore face.
Yeah. She was literally biting his ear off there. It's quite funny.
Yeah. Yeah. How dare you kiss me? And then she just kisses him back.
Yeah. I love Venice. Yeah.
Venice. Yeah, I have to do an edit of that of Roger Moore on the gondola coming across Harrison Ford and Alison Dooney running through Venice, and then maybe
funny.
Daniel Craig in Casino Royale.
Yeah, they film a lot of action movies in Venice. It's not really an action place; it's more like a romantic place. But yeah.
Yeah. I swear that they film part of The Godfather in Venice.
I think they filmed it in Sicily. Yeah. Don't know about Venice. Yeah, this scene is hilarious. And I am Mickey Mouse.
Harrison Ford's Scottish accent is quite funny.
Yeah. I mean, this may sound a bit weird, but there's that scene in Spectre where, like, he says "Ciao, Mickey Mouse." Like, I'm wondering if Sam Mendes was sort of inspired by this scene because it's kind of similar in a few ways, even though it's a bit different. Like.
Yeah. I think he might have taken the line from there. Yeah. The tapestries. Where are the tapestries?
I am Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse.
How
dare you? That was a good Scottish accent.
It was pretty rubbish, but it was. I think that's the reason why he saw through it. But I mean, it's just a funny scene anyway. But
yeah. I didn't think the accent was too bad, but yeah, it was only meant to be funny anyway. Then again, Mike Myers' accent, Shrek, really slips. It kind of slips quite a lot as it goes on.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's very hard to do. I think it's really hard to do a Scottish accent or a, Irish accent as well and make it sound believable because every time you hear it, you're like, well, that's not what it sounds like. But I mean, they play it here for comedy and it works. It's funny that Harrison Ford gets a lot more comedic scenes in this as well. It doesn't undermine his character.
Oh no, of course not. He uses it to his advantage to get into the place. And I mean, Jack, for God's sake, are you making fun of me? Do you slag me behind my back?
Yeah, it's Indiana Jones' tree.
The Last Crusade. Where are the dragons?
God.
My favorite adventure movie is The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
Oh, God. Oh,
that movie's crap.
No, you know what my favorite film is? The 33 Steps.
And finally, 47 minutes in.
Finally get Sean Connery.
Junior, way! Sean Connery is amazing.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, yeah.
I was like, Sean Connery is amazing in this film. He's so fucking funny.
I think we should give him a round of applause. Like, it's literally been the moment I've been waiting for, and what a great way to introduce him. He smashes a vase over Indy's head, and then he's like, "Oh, it's fake."
You could tell by the cross section. No, I'm sorry, son. I didn't mean to do that.
You can tell the cross section. No.
Well, he's slightly eccentric, slightly mad professor, but he's still a very human character as well. Because they do have very emotional conversations. There's a scene on the Zeppelin where he's like, "I respected your privacy. I wasn't being pushy," and he was like, "Oh, you were never there for me," and all that. So there's a very interesting relationship. It's quite dysfunctional, I think.
And it's definitely one of Connery's best roles. And yeah, I mean, what's great about it is it's so different to what he did as James Bond. He's not some kind of macho man. Yeah, like you said, he's a bit of a slightly nutty professor kind of guy, and I like his relationship with Indy and stuff. And it's just a great, it's a great performance by Sean Connery, one of his very best roles.
Definitely. and proved that that even though he played James Bond, you couldn't typecast him.
Yeah. Of
And
course.
plus, he was getting older as well, so he didn't want to be known as only playing those types of roles. So this was a nice role for him. It really was.
Yeah. Talking about Lee, I think my favorite Sean Connery role is the man who would be King, but instead we got the kid who would be Zero. But sorry.
Yeah, yeah. We better not say any more because we are live. So just in case.
Yeah. Well.
But I know what you mean.
Yes.
I like the Nazi general in this film. I think he's very good. I don't know who plays him. The blonde one.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I played a Nazi. Well, I didn't get to wear the uniform, but like in a drama in secondary school, I briefly played a Nazi, and I was told I was very good, but I didn't think I was great. But I wish. I mean, sorry.
No, I'm sure you were, man. I'm sure you were. Don't put yourself down. Did you do a German accent?
Well, I tried to anyway. Apparently, our drama teacher talked about like someone did like a gay Nazi as well, and she said it was like really hilarious. I wish I could have seen that. Like that would have been funny. We played it for comedy.
Don't call me Junior.
Look what you did.
Yeah, he did just kill like 3 innocent people.
I mean, they're not really innocent, are they? They're Nazis.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
She's a Nazi.
I mean, the Nazis are like the best villains for movies because you could just move them all down because they're fucking evil incarnate,
Yeah, they're the easiest villains to write because you don't really need to write them because if you know your history, you know what they did and they need no motivation for film really.
Yeah. He's like, oh, you should have listened to your father. Yeah.
Bitch. That's interesting that this is the first time Indy's been sort of used by a woman. He's been duped by a girl. Usually they're the damsels in distress, but no. This time she's with them.
Well, we all know women could be just as manipulative as men, so it's kind of an interesting take on this one.
Yeah, it's not discriminative of gender. I think it's interesting as well how they reveal Donovan. He's just sitting in the chair and just like Blofeld, they just turn him round and it's quite cheesy.
Yeah, it is cheesy. Yeah, but I mean, this film is cheese, but it's good cheese, Yeah, I mean, it is. You can definitely see the Bond influence. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the scene as well when they're tied up, and then he realizes that his dad has been sleeping with her as well.
Yeah,
it was rather wonderful.
It was rather wonderful, yeah. Yeah, Spielberg definitely said because Connery was in Bond, that's the reason why he cast him in this film, and it's kind of a shame Connery never came back after League of Extraordinary Gentlemen because I mean that film sucked, which is his last one, and it's kind of a shame he didn't come back and do Crystal Skull because Spielberg really tempted him, but I think Connery said retirement was too fun, which it's fair enough. But I mean, I kind of wish we got one more performance out of Connery before he passed. But I mean, it'd be great to see him reprise this character. But
it really would have been. But in a way as well, I guess it kind of makes sense that he's not there because Indy is older in that film anyway. So I guess they thought, well, we can't have Indy's dad back. We'll just have his son. So they wrote in Mutt Williams.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, Sean Connery is not much older than Harrison Ford, but I think he's like 12 years older than him or something. So, I mean, here you can't really. I mean, here he definitely looks like a granddad because Connery's got the white beard and all, and but I mean, if you had like grey Harrison Ford and grey, Sean Connery and Crystal Skull, it would just look weird,
Yeah. I mean, let's also remember that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was released 19 years after this, so Connery would have probably been not as physically able to do as much anyway. It would have just been a cameo, I think.
Yeah. John Reese Davies, another great performance from him.
Oh yeah, it's so nice to see him back as Salah. I kind of miss John Reese Davies in the Temple of Doom. Actually, he would have been a great addition to that film.
Yeah, I mean, John Reese Davies done a lot of stuff. He was in Lord of the Rings, Indiana Jones, and Living Daylights. But I mean, out of the films I've seen, I think Salah is my favorite character that he plays. It just, he's just this very, likable,
Jolly.
yeah, jolly guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a good friend to Indy. Yeah.
Run.
Well, Marcus Brody, he gets caught up in all this, bless him.
Yeah. This is probably my favorite joke in the whole film. It turns out it's a truck.
Oh dear. Yeah, isn't that just such bad luck?
Yeah. You could label this a comedy film as well because there's so much comedy. Yeah.
One of the funniest scenes for me is when they're in the plane and he's like 10, 11 o'clock, fire, and then he gets out his watch. He's like 10. What happens at 11 o'clock? 10, 12, 11 o'clock, fire.
Yeah.
They have such a good dynamic.
Yeah, no, I mean they really do. They're like, I think is Sean Connery taller than Harrison Ford because he looks taller than him when they're both tied up to the chair. But
I think they're a similar height. Yes.
You do feel bad for Indy, like she basically took him for granted and used him,
God, she really will do anything to get the Grail.
Yeah.
Lucky Indy.
It's kind of creepy that she did sleep with him, but at the same time, I suppose, she's a bit of a slut anyway, her character, but yeah.
Yeah, she's just doing whatever she can to get the Grail. She clearly knows that she's got a sexy body, so she's gonna use it.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite jokes as well. It's like, that's how we say goodbye in Austria. This is how we say goodbye in Germany.
Bang. Marcus got lost in his own museum. I think this is the main reason why this is my favorite of the series. It's just these two together, like their chemistry and the comedy between them is just brilliant. It's just really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, I did like that bit where it's like, oh, it's got a shamrock lighter. That's weird. Yeah. It's funny because Connery. Sorry, not Connery. No, I love that scene where he says to him, like Indy says, "Oh, you'll never find him. He knows a dozen different languages." That just cuts to Marcus
Him trying to understand them, isn't he?
Yeah. This scene is great as well. Like, Lights the place on fire.
Herr Donovan. So clearly Donovan, he's made a deal with the Nazis then to help him get the Grail or something.
Yeah. One thing I will say, and it's not really doesn't damage the film at all for me, but I mean, maybe one thing I will say is maybe there's a bit. I mean, I love the comedy here, but maybe there's a bit too much of it. It's like gag after gag, which is great, but I think maybe that's the reason why I slightly prefer Raiders because it is a bit more serious. But I mean, this is serious as well. But yeah, I mean, the comedy's great anyway. You know.
It's always far more complicated when you have family involved, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Raiders is great as well. Don't get me wrong, Raiders is amazing.
Whoops.
I do still like Temple of Doom. I will agree that it is a bit too dark and violent, but I think the story's easy enough, and obviously Willie's annoying, but I still think it's fun, but it's not as good as this one or Raiders. Nowhere near.
You know, I mean, I've always tried to get into Temple of Doom, and I know there are people who really love that film, but I've never liked it, and it's nothing against Harrison Ford, or anything, but it's just for me, I just thought that one was a big step down. I mean, I know a lot of people say Crystal Skull's the worst, but for me, that one was the worst because I just thought it was a bit too grim and unpleasant. But
yeah, I mean, I won't deny that it is it can be seen as that. I guess everybody perceives it very differently. But I won't argue with anyone who doesn't like it. I mean, I can see why, but I think it's just decent. You know, it's good, but yeah. They got back on track with this one.
Yeah. Oh shit! Oh. It is just comedy scene after comedy scene, which is great. He uses the bus to Hitler.
Excuse me. Come on, Dad.
I love that he sits on the chair and opens the doorstep.
I just sit down here.
Oh shit!
I wonder if Harrison Ford put anything on social media about Sean Connery recently. I have to say about that.
He might have. I saw Daniel Craig's tribute and Brosnan's tribute and all, which is great. Really lovely tribute by Pierce Brosnan towards Sean Connery. He was really, really
nice.
Yeah, respectful.
And Lazenby as well. He put something nice up as well.
I didn't see that. I'll probably check that out. What about the boat?
That's what they'll be expecting. They'll be expecting them to take the boats.
Dun,
Well, what I would have done is waited till they'd have sped off and then gone, because then that gives you a head start. He just disapproves of all of it.
dun, dun, dun.
Great chase scene. Oh my god, I mean, you know, you think that it would be a bad idea to cast Sean Connery in this role, but it actually worked like a dream. Like, the chemistry they have, I mean, just, again, testament to both their talents. I mean, particularly Connery, who could have easily have been typecast as Bond, well, as a Bond-like character, but no, he's proved that he has range with this.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about Sean Connery. Like, I think he's one of the only Bond actors to actually go on to have a much bigger career afterwards. Like, you know, he did a lot of great films after Bond, and yeah, I mean, you couldn't really say the same about Lazenby or, you know, Roger
Yeah.
Moore or you know, Timothy Dalton and stuff like that. I mean, I think the only actor who's had a career like successful after Bond and sort of before it, it's probably Daniel Craig. Thinking about it, you know.
Yeah, I think Craig is a very popular actor now, and I think he will be given a lot more work as time goes on because he's brought so much money to the Bond series, and his Bond films are so popular. But yeah, it's a shame Roger Moore didn't really do too much after View to a Kill, did he? Not that I've heard of, anyway.
I mean, saying that he did actually. I mean, I tell a lie. He did do loads of stuff before Bond. Like he was in a few really great TV shows and stuff and a few films. But I think after Bond, he said he retired from acting, which you know, I think he did a more noble thing. Like he you know, he became ambassador of UNICEF, and you know, yeah. That's not to say, you know, being a film actor isn't awesome, but yeah, I mean, he did a lot of great charity work. But I mean, speaking of Connery, like, because he's the one who passed away recently. I mean, my tribute video, sorry, hasn't been up yet, but I've just been busy with other things. But I'll be up probably tomorrow. But you know, it's a shame that Connery's gone because he really was a great great actor, and I mean, he was my first Bond. I mean, Diamonds Are Forever was the first Bond film I saw on TV, so I also have an affection for him. But I think he was a great actor as well, and this film proved that he did have, you know, the range to do other stuff apart from Bond. And I can understand why he sort of resented Bond a little bit afterwards, because, you know, he was sort of typecast in that role. But yeah.
That's for blasphemy. I love that. Sorry, yeah, but I definitely agree with you. And I think as well, like, he's been quoted as saying he didn't like the fame side of the job. He liked it, the acting, but he just didn't like the press side of it, the promotional side. Like, he felt like he was harassed a lot of the time when he was making Bond, and that's a shame.
Well, I suppose that sort of comes with being a big Hollywood actor, but yeah, I mean, as Bond, I mean, I think as time went on, he probably lost interest. So I'd probably say this for me is probably a better role for him, but I still can't deny he was awesome as Bond, you know, and he definitely laid the groundwork. And I can see why so many people would say he is the best Bond, because this is the guy who started it, and he's great in this film as well. You know, just that sort of comic timing with Harrison Ford. You really do believe that they are father and son, you know.
I like that moment as well when they just referenced his mum when he said, "Oh, you know, it was an obsession, Dad. I never understood it, and neither did Mom. Oh, she understood only too well, son. You know." So it's clearly the mum is dead, which is obviously a sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, these sort of events, like those like book burnings or whatever, they happened quite a lot. The Nazis would do that quite a lot.
Yeah, well, burn any books that they didn't believe in. You know?
Yeah. Well, Hitler was completely anti-Semitic, so that's an understatement. Anything to that was going to go. So.
Yeah. Funnily enough, that actor who plays Hitler, he was in Pyramids of Mars. He was that guy. Do you remember the guy who got killed? He was like, "Oh, Marcus," you know, Lawrence Scarman. He was the guy who was trying to save his brother Marcus, who had become possessed by Sutex. So, it's nice to see him in this.
Yeah, that's nice to see him. Interesting as well how Elsa looked at that, and she doesn't really agree with the Nazis. So she's just kind of there because it's a way to get to the Grail. It's a means to an end. She doesn't really support the Nazis, I would say.
Yeah, I think, you know, I mean, she has to go along with it because she probably just get killed. But Yeah, this guy, all I have to do is scream. Yeah.
Yeah. What's wrong, wonderful? I love this. This is
film's
great. When he signs the book.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Funnily enough, that actor's going to be in the next Doctor Who story you're going to watch. Remember to the Daleks. He's in that. The guy who plays Hitler.
Oh.
So. I love literally how the thing Hitler's after is right under his nose, and he doesn't realize it. He just thinks someone wants an autograph. Like,
you know, if he'd have turned a few more pages in the book, he would have seen. But no.
Yeah.
I guess also because Indy was disguised as well. Like he it wasn't on his mind at the moment, and he didn't see past the disguise really. So they were lucky.
Yeah. Oh shit. Oh. It's funny. Like you know what's a good thing as well for Connery. He doesn't have to wear a flipping toupee. Like in Bond. It's funny he wore toupee in all his Bond films. I didn't know that till recently, but yeah.
Yeah.
Shut that sentiment.
Oh, whoops.
The Nazis looking. Have you seen this man? I love this scene. It's one of my favorites. No ticket. And he punches him out of the...
Yeah, and then they all rush to get their tickets out.
Yeah.
Hal Jones. We had a soft landing at least.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of unrealistic.
It is a bit.
Really, people would question that. You throw this guy out of a blip. I want to know, how did he survive that fall? But yeah.
Oh, he landed on the luggage, so presumably the luggage cases were a soft landing, but I don't know. That's what I would say. But I find it funny how all the other passengers just get out their tickets and they're frantically showing them to Indy.
Yeah, that is really funny. I mean, the comedy and you know what? I do kind of class this as a comedy film just because of all there's so much comedy in here. I mean, it's still a dramatic film as well, but this is definitely a great comedy film as well to watch if you just want to have a laugh as well with Indiana Jones.
Absolutely, yeah. But this scene is actually probably the most serious scene of the film and one of the most emotional scenes when they're talking about him growing up and what their relationship was like. And I guess they basically lost touch and recently reconnected. So it's a really interesting thing because obviously not all parents and children always are in each other's lives for whatever reason. But yeah, this guy, his dad clearly was more obsessed with the the Grail than his own son. So it says a lot, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think I think with Indiana Jones in this film, like, you know, I like the story of him, you know, like, and his dad, like, you know, he kind of feels like because his dad never said anything to him that he was ignored by his dad, and you know, in many ways he was, but his dad didn't mean any harm by it. His dad, you know, was just into archaeology and the Grail and stuff like that, and you know,
Yeah, exactly. And then that's the test he has to go through at the end, is like how far he will go to save his dad, and obviously his dad realizing that he should have been more attentive towards his son. And I think that's where the film's arc kind of comes around. Their relationship really opens up, I think, by the end.
yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is why he tells him to let it go at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think Connery acts the hell out of that scene where, you know, he's like, you know, he's like, I thought I'd lost you, boy. You know, like, it's a great scene. Yeah.
Mm. It's funny, you know, there's that saying, you know, like we don't realize what we have until we lose it. And I think that definitely applies to that moment, which of course we'll get to later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Connery just lights up the scene, lights up the film, in, you know, with his energetic performance. You know, it's kind of hard to believe he's dead. But I mean, one great thing about films is that, you know, you'll last forever. You know, Sean Connery, Harrison Ford, Roger Moore, all these great actors over the years that we lost. You know, they will live on forever in their work, which is one great thing that we can get out of it. You know, is that they're never truly gone, in my opinion. You know, when you've got these films to watch, enjoy, and all that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, some great words there. Thank you for saying that, because that's definitely true. Oh god, this scene is funny. Again, convenient that there's a tiny little plane there for them to use, but I guess this blimp was mainly, well, I don't know, was it meant to be used during war? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I mean, there is a little bit dodgy green screen effects on those planes, but for the most part, it looks pretty good. 11 o'clock. Yeah, that is what. Yeah.
11 o'clock, fire! I mean, the green screen is dated now. Let's be fair. This was released in 1980.
Yeah,
What?
89. Yes. Is it 89? This film came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So 31 years ago. I'm sorry, son. They got us. I love that.
31 years. Oh my god. It doesn't look 31 years old. Wow.
Well, that's the power of Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Looks like it was shot yesterday.
Yeah. Even looking at some of Connery's Bond movies on Blu-ray, you get the similar reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, Dad. Happens to be all the time. Just love the bickering between them. Like they just rub each other up the wrong way so much.
Yeah. Come on, Dad.
I can never imagine doing this sort of thing with my dad. I mean, you know, it's just it's uncanny, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there's no way they'd be alive at this point, but you know, it's part of the fun. Oh yeah, that effect there is pretty dated.
Yeah. It's a shame you only kind of noticed it more in higher quality, but I'll roll with it. It's a great film.
The way that pilot looks at him when he goes past.
Well, we don't come any closer than that.
Whee!
Some dodgy back projection there, but
Is next year Raiders will be 40 years old, won't it?
yeah, well, yeah. I think I might I think I might re-review Indiana Jones next year because my old ones are really old and pretty poor quality. But yeah.
I like the old ones, but if you want to do that, then that's fine. I'll definitely watch your new ones as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I might just leave it. You know, this is my favorite. One of my favorite scenes. Like, I mean, he's pretty smart to do this as well. Like, you know, the way he, you know.
I mean, on the surface, it looks a bit silly, but it is actually kind of smart.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this was actually happened. Seagulls would fly right into the plane, but you know, at the same time, it's a pretty good idea. My Charlemagne, that's it. Yeah. I suddenly remembered my Charlemagne.
Bird in the sky. I like that shot there of Indy, how he's looking at his dad, thinking, yeah, how much he's missed him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's like sort of looking at him and all, like, you know, you could do that, you know. Like, I didn't know my dad could actually be as smart or as intelligent as I could, you know, in doing that, you know.
Yeah, I guess it just shows where Indy probably got it from.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Fucking hell, this has been paced really well. It's 1 hour 20 minutes. That's incredible.
I think that's Alexei Sale playing the Muslim guy, the guy who's the DJ in Revelation of the Daleks. I mean, he's not great in that story, but he's great in everything else I've seen him in.
Oh god. Well, at least he's not playing a DJ in this.
Yeah.
Son, let's wait for the DJ to drop the beat. Well,
Stromberg. Is that a reference to Bond?
Stromberg. What's the name of his radio station? Bell End FM.
No, this has definitely got influence of Bond here. Like earlier on, that scene where they're in the car being chased by the plane shooting at them. That reminded me of that scene, The Spy Loved Me, where Bond's driving in the Lotus and you got what's her name in the helicopter shooting at him. Like, I think you could tell
Yeah.
he was influenced by the Bond films making this one, you know.
Mm. Oh, Alison Doody. She's a beauty.
I did Doody, Alison Doody.
Woo!
Only joking.
I mean, John Rhys Davies' role is fairly small in this film, but you know, at least he gets to be involved in some of the action.
Yeah.
Oh, the tank. Oh, the tank scene is amazing.
Yeah,
Dun.
it is. Wow. That's a big fucking thing.
That's huge. I mean, I guess they had a truck in Raiders. They had to do something different here. So a tank, I guess, makes more sense.
Bloody Nazis stole our creation. Tank's a British invention.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess all's fair in love and war.
Yeah.
See, Marcus knows. He knows the power of the cradle.
You know, this film is zip by. We're nearly at the end here, and I just can't believe how fast paced this film is, you know.
Yeah. We've got basically just over like 40 minutes left. I mean, the third act does take a while, obviously, with the challenges, but we've still got the tank chase. I mean, it's just so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
Whoops.
The car's my brother-in-law's.
I do think Donovan, yeah, on reflection, he really hasn't done very much.
No. He's not the worst villain, though. I mean, that's definitely Molaram. He's just like, there's nothing to Molaram, but yeah, he's a nothing villain, sadly, Donovan, and that's not Julian Glover's fault. That's the script's fault, you know.
Yeah, it's a better role than Christatos, I'll say that, but I think actually most of the Indiana Jones villains on reflection are actually kind of one-dimensional. Like, they're serviceable enough, but they're not given enough time to develop as characters.
Yeah, I think my favorite Julian Glover role is probably Scaroff in City of Death. Like, when he,
I'd have to agree with that. Actually, you're right. Yeah, he's amazing in that.
Yeah.
I mean, that story feels like a movie with the cast, the A-list cast that they've got, and the filming locations.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the problem with some of the later. I mean, just going off topic a little bit, and then we'll get back on topic. But kind of problem with some of the Davison stories and Colin Baker stories is they may film in a nice location, but the story is just absolute rubbish. You know, you need to get the story and locations right for it to feel like a movie. You know,
exactly.
Yeah.
And for the most part, Indiana Jones has done that. I mean, in all 4 movies, the locations and the settings have felt great, you know, and they fit.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a shame when that character got killed there, because like one of my favorite characters in the film, even though he doesn't get that many scenes, you know. Yeah. Marcus. You know what's great about Connery in this as well is that he is a great chemistry of pretty much everybody on screen, like Harrison Ford and Marcus. Like, you really believe that they're friends, you know, and you know, and that Indy's his son. I mean, it really shows the you know, the acting talent that Sean Connery had. You know, you could believe that Harrison Ford is his son and Marcus is his like best friend. You know.
I love the little secret like handshake or whatever they did, him and Marcus.
Yeah.
I love that line when he says about reading books as well.
Yeah, instead of burning them, yeah.
Not that Jones, the other Jones.
Da-da-da. The other one. Oh god, this is probably my favorite action scene in an Indiana Jones movie. This tank scene is just so good. The belly of that steel beast.
The belly of the steel beast.
Jones out.
Spielberg knows how to make a fun movie.
Yeah. He's definitely the ultimate popcorn director.
You can only imagine how great what must have been to see it when it was released in 1989.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing like about the cinemas. I mean, my cinemas are closed again because of lockdown, unfortunately. But I mean,
same.
I really wish they re-released the Indiana Jones films. You know, because I mean, they've re-released all the other classic films in the cinema, but I wish, you know, the cinema re-released Indiana Jones. I guarantee you, loads of people will go to see them. But
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not so much the 4th one, but yeah. I think they'd definitely come and see Raiders. Raiders would be the one they should release. and possibly The Last Crusade as well. Especially if the cinemas were open now, with Connery's passing, it would make sense to re-release this one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And this scene has, once again, a kick-ass soundtrack from John Williams. Dun 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 dun. Flipping hell. I mean, where do you even begin to direct a scene like this? It's just crazy. I think the Temple of Doom sort of made a mistake in the finale by having a little bit too much action. It just did go on a bit. But with this, it's like the action comes when it needs to, and it's not overbearing for me.
Yeah.
Junior!
Junior! I love this tank scene. I think one of the problems as well, Temple of Doom, is that it was just overstuffed with action. I think this has the right balance of action and like quieter moments. You know, it doesn't. I mean, there's tons of action in this, but it's not like action scene after action scene after action scene with no break. I mean, I think that's one of my problems with like with the second half of Temple of Doom. It just descends all into action, action, action. And I love Spielberg; he's great at action, but this film has the right balance of action and quieter stuff. But
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, John Williams' score is just superb in this scene. It's so epic.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I thought the truck chase was impressive in Raiders, but man, this is just as impressive.
Yeah. Don't know how the hell that worked, but
Yeah. Don't think normally you need a fucking powerful bullet to go through 3 people.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend who, I mean, his favorite's Last Crusade, and he goes on about this action scene being way better than the truck chase and the first one. And I get where he's coming from. This is definitely a great action scene.
It's definitely a bigger action scene than the truck chase. Well, the truck chase is amazing. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the Temple of Doom, actually, to give it credit, it has the mine chase, which is awesome. But I do see where you're coming from about it being overstuffed with action. It does go on a bit, but I don't mind it so much. But it is a bit long.
No, I mean, yeah, it's fair enough. I've just never been a big fan of Temple of Doom, but I mean, this one definitely, I think, was the right ending for the series. This is the one that is closest to Raiders for me of being a perfect film. But I mean, it's just a shame that they had to drag the series on, and now we got a 5th one coming out, which I just really don't see the point of. But there we go.
I squats the pen. Junior.
The pen is mightier than the sword, bitch.
You just think, my God, Indy, like, how do you even survive all this?
I know, it's just mind-boggling.
He's almost like a Superman. He's a Superman. Whoa.
He's not a Superman. In this case, Indy is.
God, I mean, Harrison Ford was quite happy to throw himself into the stunts on quite a number of occasions. Fair play to him.
I think this is the right time to end it anyway, because he was like in his late 40s when he did this. I think so yeah,
Yeah, I agree. The fifth one, oh god, I'm hoping it's going to be cancelled, or if not, they'll cast someone else. We'll do it with Shia LaBeouf.
Whoops.
Da, da, da.
You call this archaeology?
Call this archaeology. God, this is great.
Literally, now you know.
Where's Marcus? Sean Connery must have had a blast making this film.
Oh, he did, yeah. He absolutely adored this role, and that's why Indiana Jones 4, I think, was the closest thing for him to coming out of retirement. But then again, he said no. But
Yeah, maybe it was for the best, but I mean, we should be grateful that we had this film with him.
I mean, you don't really need another film with him, because I mean, I think they could have done all they could with this character. He went for the emotional journey with his son, with the Grail, and yeah, that's a great shot there. I love the zoom in of Indy's face when his hat falls off and they're about to go over the cliff.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's dead.
Yeah.
So presumably he just, jumped, leapt for the cliff and managed to grab it just in time. Or he went to the bottom and climbed all the way back up.
Yeah.
But it's a great moment for his dad where he thinks he's lost him, isn't he?
Yeah. No, I agreed, yeah. I've lost him.
I just wasn't ready, Marcus. I just wasn't ready, Marcus.
He never told him he loved him.
This is probably one of my favorite bits of acting from Sean Connery. Just that look in his face, yeah, he thought he'd lost everything, and it's a really powerful moment.
He just looks over the edge, like, what we all looking at? Aww. Marcus. That must have been the first time that they've hugged in years.
Yeah. I love the way he just hugs him and then just drops him, oh, well, that was the end of the emotional moment.
Yeah. But it was a great moment there. It's like they finally got closer now.
Yeah. One thing I will say about Indiana Jones, and I mean, it's not a criticism. It's actually something that's kind of great about it. It's like they're kind of like live action cartoons in some ways, like with the over the top, unbelievable stuff that happens in it, and that's what kind of makes it so much fun as well. Because Spielberg, I've seen him talk, and he says he really loves cartoons and stuff like that. So, like some of the over the top deaths you got in this series and stuff. That's what kind of makes it, I think, accessible for kids as well. Is that it really is, there's sort of that cartoonish aspect to it, which is great. I mean, you still got all the emotional stuff, but yeah, kind of fun, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see that. There's definitely an influence, although there is action. It's slightly more violent than some cartoons, but the violence is not graphic as such, so it's fairly kid appropriate, you know. And the story is easy enough to follow.
Yeah. This scene here is great. Yeah, I think that's like in. I think it's in Egypt or something like that. Yeah. Message in Louis.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was sending a reply to somebody else as well. I really like the finale of this film. It's emotional on every level, and it's probably the best moment as well for Donovan, for Julian Glover, when he's really sort of pushing Indy to the edge because he's shooting dad, so forcing Indy to kind of take the, I don't know if you call it a rite of passage, but the test, or I guess the test is what it's called, but yeah. I love this film. This film is great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ew.
that's freaky.
They see me rolling. Uh-oh.
Indiana, let it go.
Ooh. Like a bad penny, I always turn up.
Possible? What do you say, Jones? Ready to go down in history? A Nazi stooge. Nazis? Is that the limit of your vision? The Nazis want to write themselves into veiled legend.
I mean, yeah, I'll give Julian Glover the credit. He's trying, but the character he's just not very interesting.
Yeah, he's very one dimensional. He's just like, yeah, I want to live forever, and that's really it. And it is a shame he doesn't get much to do until the last few minutes here. But when he does shoot Indy's father, that is that's what turns him from being a pretty rubbish villain to being a okay villain. So yeah, because it adds emotional weight when he shoots his dad.
Oh dear. I mean, it is my sort of one criticism of the film is just Donovan as the villain. He could be a little bit better, but I think he's decent enough. He just doesn't get much to do. But...
Yeah, I mean that's the problem with the Indiana Jones franchise. Everything else is great, but the villains have always been very weak. Yeah.
What do you believe?
Funnily enough, he's got a Wolfer PPK, so that's another Bond reference.
Yeah, again, and shooting James Bond.
Yeah. Bond should have said, "Oh, that was a Smith and Wesson, and I had my 6."
Yeah, this set is incredible.
Yeah, it is great. Yeah. Actually, you know what?
Production values are.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
So production values are just amazing for these films, particularly this one.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the people who do the sets and costumes don't get enough credit when it comes to films. they deserve, they deserve $1 million fucking dollars for, the sets they make here. I mean, the sets are just probably some of the best in any film I've seen. Like, just yeah, incredible.
And the location stuff is also very good too.
I think this is the darkest parts of the film, and probably my favorite parts of the film, where he has to go through all these like tests, to get to the Grail.
Yeah, and again, it's not only testing him physically, but it's more testing his faith and his beliefs. It's maybe his religious beliefs do change after he goes through this.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that's what the film does. It questions in his faith, because he's not really religious, but when it comes to these tests, he sort of he sort of has to question whether he does believe in God, because his dad is a firm Christian, like a firm Catholic, and I think Indy's like I think he sort of realizes that maybe there is some kind of God out there for him anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think by seeing the Holy Grail maybe sort of affirms his belief. I think before maybe he was slightly agnostic on the whole subject, but I think he sort of has his beliefs more certify after this. But yeah, it's an interesting moment. But obviously he's doing it to save his dad. That's the primary reason.
Yeah. We'll go over against Fanatic.
Whoops.
Oops.
Not Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, like the test there would be to turn off all the lights and keep quiet so they leave. God.
Oh, I think this is actually a really great moment as well for Harrison Ford. You can see the fear in him. Like he's scared. He's not sure if he can do this, and obviously the tension is building. He needs to do it quickly because he knows his dad is gonna die if he doesn't. But this, I think, is the hardest moment for him, trying to cross the bridge.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite scene. Like, I don't really get it. Like how. I mean, I kind of understand how he sees the bridge, but at the same time, I don't. Like, it sort of comes out of nowhere, but I think it's part of it. It's camouflaged or something like that. Like the.
You must hurry. Come quickly.
Yeah, it did confuse me a bit as a kid. I was like, how is the bridge just then there? Is it? I guess it's just him maybe imagining it. I guess he has to believe it to be there. For it to work. I guess is it meant to be some kind of enchanted bridge? I don't really know.
I mean, what I think it is I think it's kind of revealed like the bridge was always there, but you just can't see it from where he's standing. It looks camouflaged or something. I don't know, but.
Yay!
Oh yeah, see, it was that's the thing. It was part of the. Yeah, I think he must like believe, so that's why the bridge is. No, that's what it is. You look there, that effect. The bridge was always there, but just very hard to see. Yeah, because it's sort of camouflaged with the background of the rocks. But yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised that he did that. He threw the stones there, but because Donovan quite clearly believes. So yeah, but I guess he's trying to make the path easier for them, isn't he?
Yeah. I don't really think Donovan does believe in God. He just wants the cup for himself. He just wants it to live forever.
Yeah. There must be an element of belief though, because in the beginning he showed him the tombstone with the crucifix. So clearly he's been researching into it, but he just needed Indy and his dad to kind of reaffirm the history of it. But yeah, well, this is a nice scene.
Yeah, that's why it's called the Last Crusade, because he's the last of the Crusaders. Yeah.
Yeah, not because it should have been the last Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a pun, definitely. Like.
I think this actor's really good, actually. You can see how sort of worn and tired he is. He just wants to die. I think he's fed up of being there for so long.
Yeah. I like that Indy doesn't, do that. He's like, I don't want you to kill me. Sorry, I don't want to kill you. I just want to find out about the Grail, and then Donovan comes through.
Yeah.
I mean, saying that,
suppose he could have done it on his own.
I mean, Donovan's like an older man. I don't know how the hell did he get through that first trap. I mean, the other two are easy, but that first trap is.
Oh, well, actually, Indy, he pulled a lever which stopped the contraptions from moving.
All right, fair enough. Yeah.
Because Donovan is thick, because he doesn't know his history, he's easily duped, and that's how she manages to get it for herself, because she thinks he will immediately think that something that looks golden will be the one, but no, wrong.
I know he's stupid. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Jesus was a humble man, He wouldn't be like, oh, look at me, I've got loads of gold and diamonds and stuff like that, Yeah, so... Yeah, I mean, that look that gives to Indy, like, oh, I'm going to... Look what's going to happen to him. Yeah. So, what were we going to say?
No, I was just going to say, I think this is actually quite a grim way for him to go out. His body completely just kind of decomposes straight away, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, what I want to know is, like, did she know she was giving him the wrong Grail, or like?
Yeah,
just
she did.
Right.
She did it because she wants it for herself. She because she knows that he doesn't know what the right one is, so tricked him.
Yeah.
Because he could never have found this on his own.
Yeah. I love this bit, what is happening to me, and then he decompose, and this is creepy as hell.
Yeah. That's actually it's an effect that's not aged too badly.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the melting faces from the first one, except he turns into a skeleton this time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Poorly. I love that. Yeah.
And the thing is, as well, what Donovan didn't know was that he could never have taken the Grail outside of the Holy Circle. He could never have taken it outside of the cave. So this whole crusade is pointless. He would have died anyway, but he just didn't know it.
Yeah. God, imagine if it was wrong. That'd be the end of the franchise for sure.
Yeah. See, Indy knows the most basic one. You know, it's not going to be the most pristine looking thing. Jesus was not a rich man. He couldn't have afforded something like that.
Yeah, but also Jesus was a humble man. You know, he wouldn't want loads of gold and diamonds and stuff on his cup. You know, like it's just a cup to him. You know. Oh. Oh.
So he'll have to just live with the bullet inside him for the rest of his life.
Well, I mean, it may be stupid, but like I thought the Grail might have got rid of that. I'm not sure.
Or maybe it did. Unless they took it out.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. It's a Christmas miracle.
I kind of like that look in his face. Like, this is the Holy Grail. Like,
It's what he's been waiting years for.
I think what everybody's been waiting for.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's why Donovan and Elsa die, because they've become so obsessed with it. And Indy's dad realized, I've got to let it go now, because otherwise I end up killing myself over it. It's not worth it. It's just a cup.
Yeah.
Elsa, don't move. Elsa, don't cross the steel. The Night warned us not to take the
Uh-oh.
Indiana, let it go.
Yeah, well, I mean, oh dear. You know, if she was smart, she'd just, you know, leave the Grail.
Yeah, no, she's too greedy.
Yeah.
Don't, Elsa. Elsa. Your other hand, honey, I can't hold you. Give me your hand. Give me your other hand.
See ya.
Yeah, bye.
Junior.
I really like the message of this, like, you know, at the end of the day, even though it's the Holy Grail, it's just a cup, you know, at the end of the I like the message of this, that, you know, like, I mean, like, everyone's looking the Holy Grail to sort of, you know, like, I've got the Holy Grail, but at the end of the day, the message is, you know, well, I mean,
Yeah.
sort of a spiritual message about father and son and stuff
Yeah.
like that, you know.
It's like he didn't
Yeah.
need the Grail. As far as he was concerned, he had his Holy Grail, which was his son. He just never realized it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Oh, this is a beautiful moment when the knight waves goodbye.
Yeah, no, it's really sad. I mean, it is kind of nice though that the knight finally gets to rest after like 700 years or whatever it is, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to die. He's just so sick and tired of sitting in this cave.
Yeah, he's the only one who's got the he's the only one who's got the Holy Grail and who's like drank and lived, you know, lived for such a long time. I mean, I know this is a little bit off topic, but I was watching the Lazarus experiment the other day. There's that bit where the doctor says, "Oh, I know, Lazarus, that a longer life isn't always a better one. There's only one certainty, and that's, you know, everyone you love will turn to dust." And, you know, it's kind of the message here as well. Like, you know, do you really want to live forever? You know, like, because you become old, lonely, and you want to die eventually. But
yeah, because you're right, actually. Yeah, because if you live forever, then you just watch life crumble in front of you. You lose the people you love, and you just go on, and it'll just become an endless cycle of you know of highs and lows, you know, and your body will just be too old to cope with it.
yeah, mentally you'll just, you know,
Jr.
Henry Jones Jr.
I mean,
Henry Jones Jr. named a dog Indiana. Yeah.
you adopted the dog. Got a lot of fond memories of that dog.
Of that dog. I love that. He's named after the dog.
Ready? Henry, Henry, Hillary.
Dun, 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 dun.
Ah!
Well, in a parallel world, Rose was named after the dog.
After you, Junior. Yes, sir.
After you, Junior. Yes, sir.
Dun, dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun.
dun. See, this was a good ending. Like it should, for me, they shouldn't have bothered with the fourth one. Even though I don't hate the fourth, we didn't need it.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. I mean, I like the fourth one, but this is where it should have ended. Yeah,
Yeah, the four of them riding off into the sunset.
yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun,
But
dun.
enough that shot where they ride off into the sunset, like Spielberg was talking about that, like he met the Western director John Ford, and John Ford, like, I mean, apparently he's a bit of a grumpy git, but he just said, I mean, he gave a young Spielberg advice. He's like, oh yeah, when you're shooting a sunset, shoot it at the bottom of the frame or at the top of the frame. Never shoot it in the middle, because it just doesn't. It looks kind of boring, But
Yeah.
here he got it right, shooting at the bottom of the frame. But this is just a great way to end the, film them going off in the sunset. It really does feel like the end. And even Spielberg said, when George Lucas asked him to do Crystal Skull, he said, we ended it. They went off into the sunset, and that was it. And yeah, it's kind
Lucas-
of a shame they had to do another
Lucas
one.
got
But
into it. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a shame. Well, I mean, not a complete shame, but that was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Never has a film gone more quickly. So, Jack, what do you think of this film?
shit. No, I'm joking. No, it's a great. I think it's a great film. This is a great send off to the Indiana Jones trilogy. Oh, sorry, trilogy. It's a great send off. For me, this is the true ending of the franchise. I mean, I like Crystal Skull, but it wasn't necessary. I think it's a great film. I really like pretty much everything about it. It's got great comedy. It's definitely the most comedic and lighthearted of the series, which is a good thing. And I mean, it's definitely more upbeat than the previous film, but it's great to have Sean Connery in this. I mean, it's such a shame he passed away. He's passed away recently, a few days ago, and it's a shame that he's no longer with us. But he'll live on forever in his films, which is great, and he's great here as Henry Jones Senior, and I love his relationship with Harrison Ford, like the comedy there, and this does have his dramatic, parts as well. Like with Indiana Jones and the relationship with his father, and I like all the stuff here to do with religion and Indiana Jones sort of testing whether he is religious or not, and it's just a great film, loads of action. Great score by John Williams, superb directing by Steven Spielberg. I think my only negatives of the film, and they're not, big negatives, is that, having the Nazis again and, going after the Holy Grail. We have kind of seen that before in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I think you can make the argument that at points maybe it is a little bit too comedic, but it doesn't damage the film really for me. It's still a fantastic film, and it's not my favorite of the franchise. It was when I was younger. I think my favorite now is Raiders, but this is a very, very close second, and it's a great film all around. And Alison Doodie's great as well as Elsa, and it's just a ton of fun. It's one of the funnest movies you could watch. It's just every time you watch it, you're always guaranteed to have a great time. And yeah, I'm going to close off. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. So yeah.
Oh, and also Donovan is the villain.
Oh yeah, Donovan. Yeah, Julian Glover, great actor, but I think Donovan's a bit of a crap villain. That's not really down to his fault. That's the script. He's just a very one-dimensional. Oh, I want to get the Grail so I can live forever, and that's kind of it. And he doesn't get much to do in the film. So as a villain, I think he's pretty crap. But I mean, he's not the worst of the Indiana Jones series. That's definitely Mola Ram. I mean, none of the Indiana Jones villains are really that great, but I still think Julian Glover gives a great performance. But yeah, that's sort of my take on it. And yeah, rest in peace, Sean Connery. And
Yeah.
it was great watching this film again.
Round of applause for Sean Connery. Yeah. Rest in peace, man.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I can't really add much more to that. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Well as this being a fantastic movie for Sean Connery, it is my favorite Indiana Jones movie, and a lot of people share that view. But if people prefer Raiders, that's fine. For me, this is it's the most fun, it's the funniest, it's the most emotional. It has its heart in the right place. There's a lot of emotional drama with Indy and his dad. Harrison Ford and Sean Connery make the best on-screen duo. They are so good in this film, and Connery, I mean, he's outstanding. He just proves that he has comedic range, and he wasn't never going to be typecast after playing James Bond for so long. So I appreciate that they gave him this role, and Harrison Ford is also very good in the film, and when he has to go through the test at the end is brilliant. There's a lot of emotional drama there. The action scenes are amazing. I mean, that tank scene, my God, it's amazing. I also like John Rhys Davies in the movie, even though he's not in it much. Marcus Brody's good. Deno Melia, Elsa, Alison Doody. I nearly forgot her name there. Alison Doody is great as Elsa. She plays a more complex Indiana Jones girl than Willie or Marion. The Nazis, yeah, I mean, I don't mind them. I suppose it is a bit cliche to have them in it again, but it is what it is. Donovan is a bit of a weak villain, but not too bad. I mean, he's serviceable enough, but he just doesn't get much to do for me. I wish that he had more to do. I mean, his motivations are fine.
Yeah.
He's fine. Like, that's it. He's just fine. He's a better villain than Mola Ram, but he's probably not the best villain of the series. I mean, I don't know. I might even take him over Bellind. I'm not sure. For those who don't know, I'm referring to Belloc. But whatever.
They should call him like Jeremy Jahns calls him Dickafor. You may as well call him Dickavin. Donovan, yeah.
Dickafor, yeah. It's a great film. It's paced amazingly well. Some great action. The story is, I think, the story is the best as well. Like the Crest of the Holy Grail. It's just so interesting. And I like the opening with young Indy as well. River Phoenix doing a great job. Also, rest in peace. It adds a lot of background to Indy's childhood, and it obviously very appropriate for this film because this is the film where his dad comes in. Spielberg directs really well. The score is amazing by John Williams. The music is just brilliant. It's beautiful. It's exciting. It's emotional, dramatic. I mean, you couldn't have asked for more. Yeah, like I said, my only minor criticism would have to be, Donovan as the villain. He could have had a bit more to do. They could have fleshed him out more, but it's not a major problem. The comedy is great. I think it's just funny. It's just hilarious. It probably is the funniest of the 4 Indiana Jones films, and I like the ending when they ride off into the sunset. And like you said earlier, Jack, the message of the movie is amazing. Like how it's just a cup. You don't need to go looking after looking for these things after fame and fortune. We just appreciate what we have, and that's the whole relationship with Indy and his dad. Is that his dad never appreciated that he had a son who was his treasure the whole time, and that's when he says to him, "Let it go, just leave it." It's just a cup, and it's just beautiful for me. It's just a very well done film, and I will always enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. So I definitely have to give this movie a 10 out of 10 without question. And goodbye, Sean Connery. Rest in peace. This is definitely one of Sean Connery's best roles. I know he won the Oscar for The Untouchables, which I suppose we could do a commentary on in the future. But just because this one is fun, and it's such a happy role that he plays. It's a very interesting character that he plays. I thought this would be a nice one to do, and I'm glad both of us agreed to do this. And we've already commentated on his Bond films. So yeah, that's it. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. We may well commentate on the other indie movies at a later date, but because of the news about Sean Connery, this one seemed the most appropriate. And this is the only one he's in, so it kind of seemed the most appropriate to do this right now. But I've really enjoyed it. So thanks very much to Jack for joining me as well. I couldn't do this without him. So great. It's great fun to do these with you, man.
No, it's great. We haven't done one in quite a while, so be good to do some more audio commentaries. But yeah, well, we should definitely do the Untouchables. Actually, I got that on Blu-ray, and I think I might review that in the next couple of days since Sean Connery's passed. But yeah, I mean, as for this film, great film for Sean Connery, it really is, and yeah, I mean, he will be missed. I mean, he was the first James Bond. He, planted the flag, and he's definitely one of the best Bonds, and he's a great actor. So it's a shame that he's gone now, but he will live on in his work, which is great. So we always have his films to watch. So he's never truly dead, in my opinion. But yeah.
And he will exist on the silver screen as various roles, and obviously the most popular role he played was James Bond, but this is definitely another highlight to his career. So Sean Connery, we thank you very much, and I hope Harrison Ford has said some nice words about him as well. But anyway, that kind of wraps it up. Is there anything else you want to say before we end it?
I believe I forgot my Charlemagne.
Oh God, never forget Connery's role in this. Anyway, thanks very much everybody for watching and listening, and stay tuned for more commentaries and reviews. So until next time, I'm Mr. TARDIS 11. This is Jack the Film Fanatic. See you soon. Bye for now.